very new team, and I would suspect that the national coaches who are here watching this competition are looking at them for the future. Very much a developmental team, and once they get some experience under their belts, I'm sure we'll see greater things from them, but not today.
Of course, the Australians have a bye in this rotation, so it's a good sign for our Aussie girls.
Yes, it just opens the door a bit for the Australian team to pick up a bronze or a silver medal here. I don't know that we're going to catch the Americans, even though we haven't seen much of them yet, but maybe within striking distance of this Chinese team.
Well, she looks devastated, and deservedly so. She's faulted again for her side.
Well, this is the outstanding part of the routine. Look how high that is, that beautiful stretched body salto, and connecting it to a nice little Corbett flick.
A 13.2 for Xixing Tan of China on beam. Now Brittany Rogers representing Canada on the uneven bars. One of their more experienced campaigners, 17-year-old.
And a little bit laboured on this routine. She's a little bit heavier than most athletes, and it does show up in the work.
It's her favourite apparatus, the uneven bars.
Toe on half, big arm bend there. Vault over the bar, but just looking quite laboured. Oh, she's off, can't hang on.
Pretty untidy here from the Canadians on uneven bars. It's a second fall for them in the competition.
It will be interesting because I suspect that it'll be Canada and Australia fighting it out for the bronze medal, albeit the Chinese have pretty much wiped themselves out on beam, but they're a very strong team, and I think it's going to be Canada and Australia. So this is one score that probably won't count for their team. It puts pressure on the rest of the athletes to hit. Double front. It's solid enough on the dismount, but the damage is done.
There's Vakalik, of course. She fell on this apparatus too. And there goes Rogers.
The G-force is just that bit too strong.
And their execution, 6.6. So, of course, out of 10, dropping a few marks there. And Xiji Zhang now of China, back on the beam.
Even tinier than the last competitor. Opening with a clean press to handstand.
We'd think, Liz, there's not much pressure on her. All her teammates have fallen. So the expectation's not that great.
Good amplitude on the apparatus here. Oh, she's fallen off, and it just looked to me like she could have stayed on if she'd fought that a little bit harder. Most unusual to see this many athletes in a team fall on one rotation. I don't think I've ever seen the Chinese do this much falling.
Well, they've certainly got a mental block here today on the beam. It's getting the better of them.
Second fall. I can't believe how many falls, almost an average of 2 per athlete. In fact, it probably will end up that way.
Almost beginning to think, Liz, it's a part of the routines.
Well, their coaches won't be too happy, I can tell you that. But you can see that technically they're very good. I think it's coming down to a confidence and an inexperience showing out here, and I know that in a couple of years' time we'll be watching these young girls and they'll be just superb.
So there is Zheng finishing off the beam for China. No doubt glad to see an end in that apparatus.
Here we go with the acrobatic series. Flick, flick. Once again, nice high layout, great landing technique.
And standing by of a score for Zheng, a 13.0. Beam is over. On to the vault now with 16-year-old Alexander Raceman from the USA.
And the Americans just keep coming on stronger and stronger. Another superb double twist. The whole team vaulting at such a high level. Good position. Not much to deduct for there.
And look at that score, a 15.350. Outstanding from Raceman. And the women's team standings after the second rotation, China in front, Canada second. Of course, America's there in fourth, but they've only had one apparatus so far. In the senior all-around, it's Wu from China leading the way, but expect the Americans to come up the ranks, of course. They've only had one rotation, and of course, Little from Australia. Coming up, it's the big gun, the current world champion, Bridget Sloan. Welcome back. Very shortly we'll catch up with the US women on the uneven bars, but first, with a recap of all the action from the men's all-around final, here's David Colbert.
Australia's Sam Offord got the men's team an all-around final underway with a solid 13.35 effort on pommel horse. America began on floor with World Championship finalist Stephen Legendre, the best performer to give the USA a strong start. China began on vault with a string of outstanding efforts, a high degree of difficulty giving Huang Hugo 16.25 to lead the way after the opening rotation. The US team moved to pommel for rotation 2 and found troubles with high bar specialist Danelle Laver, the exuberant Chris Cameron, followed by Legendre, all hitting the deck. Junior star John Orozco, the star, with his 14.30 routine. Australia moved to the rings with team leader Sam Offord the standout with a 15.35 performance that kept the Aussies in touch with the leaders. On the third rotation, event leader Nathan Gafuik of Canada continued his consistent display, this time on parallel bars, to maintain his slender lead. Offord's 15.25 on vault had him just outside the top three. American junior John Orozco continued his strong run with a 15.30 on vault, along with teammate Dylan Akers, who had plenty of airtime on his effort. Offord produced a clean effort on parallel bars. Whilst on floor, China's Huang Hugo was the standout of the rotation, his 15.50 moving him into second place in the all-around behind Canada's Gafuik. The penultimate rotation and the Canadians were on fire on floor, with first Kevin Litwin and then the all-round leader Nathan Gafuik producing excellent routines. Offord executed a clean routine on high bar to earn 14.0 from the judges to remain in second place overall. In the final rotation, and Canadian Nathan Gafuik led the way in all-around and USA the team title. Huang Hugo made steady progress throughout the competition, and his 14.05 effort on rings secured him a spot on the podium. Sam Offord ended his night on floor with a solid 13.55 to secure the silver medal, leaving Canada's Nathan Gafuik to claim an early confidence booster ahead of the Commonwealth Games, taking the all-around gold.
It's always nice to come to a big international competition with lots of countries like this one and do what you know that you can do and come out on top. It's a good feeling.
I mean, my start values aren't as high as some others, so I need to make sure that my consistency is as close to 100% as I can, and it's good that it's making its way towards that, with the business end of the year coming with Commonwealth Games and Worlds. So.
The men's team title went to the USA with World Championship finalist Danelle Laver rounding out a great night with a spectacular high bar routine.
Well, you know what? We started off with a bit of a struggle. Floor did not go ideal, neither did pommels, neither did rings.
But the one thing about this team is we're never going to give up. No matter what, USA is going to fight because there's a lot of fight in this dog.